Thanks, Heather, for inviting me over. I'm glad we could meet today. My name's Dave, and I'm not sure if we have something for you or not, but pretty soon we'll know real quick, and we can gather some information to talk about it. But first things first, for your time today and for getting together, we've got this little getaway, courtesy of getting together today. It entitles you to 3 days, 2 nights, your choice of any one of 20 different locations. There's Hawaii, right, Cancun, Las Vegas, and a bunch of others. All you have to do is put your name on address on the phone number, send it in with $10, and the $10 covers postage and handling. And then they're going to send you back a registration form, and you just tell them what 2 dates that you want to go. Excuse me, there is a catch. You have to schedule out 60 days in advance. That's the key. 60 days out, that's 2 months. But these are really nice hotels. They're 4-star or better. They average approximately $180 a night. And so have some fun with it. This is probably worth $300-400, and that's a great deal. A little bit about us. Federal Financial Group is a large national company. In fact, we've got contractual arrangements with several financial institutions. Some of them have been around for, 150 years. They have over $20 billion in assets, and what we do is we work with small businesses, small business owners, individuals like you, to help you get one thing, to become totally financially independent. And that's important. Our definition of totally financially independent is this. What it means is that you have enough money saved up here that the money pays you more on a monthly basis than what your job does, what you work for over here pays you. Well, then it's over, right? If you don't want to, you don't have to work anymore. And the trick is how do you do it the quickest? And so that's where we're headed today, and this is going to be fun. But some of the challenges of this are, take the last 10 years, right? Incomes haven't gone up with the cost of living. Housing costs have more than doubled. Groceries are more expensive, right? Going to the grocery store, and gas prices, man, they're killing us. This causes people to get into higher debt. There's a lack of security. The poor spending habits, the saving habits have changed, and before you know, there's nothing left in retirement, and that's really the big problem in the country today. In fact, if you were statistically to line up 100 people who just turned 65, how many of them do you think would be able to call themselves totally financially independent? Out of those 100, how many at age 65 would be able to do that? 4. 4 of them were able to retire. The other 96 are not. Only 4. And that puts people into 3 different scenarios. 1, relying on family, right? We've seen that. 2, there's charity, government assistance, those kind of things. And the majority of them, well, they're still working, and they're still working. And in fact, the other day I was at McDonald's. I was almost hit in the face by a mop handle, and the woman turned. She apologized, and I said, no problem. But realized, you know what? She had to be pushing 70s. This isn't what she wanted to be doing with her age. This certainly wasn't a hobby. She's out of money. And this is a problem. And I'm sure when she was our age, she wasn't expecting to be living like this. And the problem is that it's getting worse because, people are living longer. But we believe that there's solutions. There are solutions. And we work in 7 major categories, 7 areas. We weave them together to help people they have the ability to save more money, to make money, and to get out of debt. And when you do those 3 things, it's gaining financial independence sooner. So what I'm going to do is I want to walk through these quickly. So keep in mind points that are most relevant to you, and we can come back and talk about them, all right? Step number 1 is inspect what you expect. Now, first you have to know what you have, right? It's like anything else. What do we have? Most people can't even read their statements, and they have no idea what they have. Had a client the other day. They had no idea what money he had, whether he was making it or losing it, the tax implications. He's actually afraid to open the statement. But see, if we're going to shave off years off retirement, you constantly need to inspect what you expect. And we can help you with that. It's a foundation builder. It's really key. Okay? Step 2, it's increased cash flow. Now, how would you define cash flow? How would you define cash flow? Well, it's how much money you have left at the end of each month, right? After what money comes in and what expenses go out, what do you have left over? Well, we show people how to increase what they have left. That's increasing cash flow. At the end of each year, for example, say you're going to get a tax refund. Do you, from both federal and state, would you say that you get back each year? How much would you say you get back? $3,000? Oh, okay. Well, it kind of reminds me of someone I met the other day. He had the same thing, about $3,000. And so I asked him, I said, are you telling me that you're allowing the government to keep your money for a year, or even more, and then give it back to you, and they not give you interest that they made on it? He said, that doesn't make sense. And I told him he's right. Because what you should do is take some of that money and put it back into your budget, so that way you can earn interest on it. So you can see how increasing your cash flow is critical. But that's just one way. That's just one of the things. Number three, step three, is the debt eliminator. We call that the debt elimination phase. What we do here is we help people consolidate and get out of debt. Using the same monthly payments, the same debt, without refinancing the home, we help families reduce their debt in a shorter time. And when using software, we call it the debt eliminator. Using software, we help free up additional cash. We increase their tax deductions and enable to start shaving time off their future more quickly. And it helps make their life a lot better. And that's step three. Step number four is developing an emergency fund. Now, most people don't have one. So as a rule, what we recommend is that people keep a stash of cash of 3 to 6 months available of their income that can be readily accessed in case of an emergency. Now, if you don't have it, this might be one of the first things that we start looking at that we need to set up. There's some rules about your emergency fund. It should be in a safe place, right? It should provide you with a better interest rate than you're getting out of your checking account, and it should be completely liquid. We also find that it needs to be completely separate from your checking account, which makes sense, and you want to get automatic money dropped into it every month until it's completely funded. And Federal Financial has been doing that for 10 years, helping people establish a successful emergency plan. Step 5 is protect what you have. This is really a key step. Protecting against loss of life means protecting against loss of income. Now, we've seen what happens, the devastation that happens to a family when a family of 2 or 3 kids and dad get killed, something like that. What I found is once dad's gone, so's his income. You know, who pays the mortgage? Who keeps the lights on? Who pays for food, right? It can get pretty tragic for a family trying to recover from the death of a loved one, and almost impossible to move forward if there's little to no money. So part of a good financial plan is life insurance and to replace that income. And one of the things we do is we look at what the family has, we go back, do research, find options to help put them in a better position. That was step 5. Step 6 is building long-term financial independence. And if you listen to me, this step could change the quality of your life. And this is the one that everybody likes best. Step 6. Now there's 2 elements that play here, 2 financial battles that we have to win the money game. And if you don't, let me be really honest with you, Heather, if we don't, the chances of you being financially independent probably won't happen. It's this key step. So their 2 battles are the inflation battle and the tax battle. Because it's not what you make, but it's what you keep, right? Taxes are going to hurt you if you're not careful. Let's talk about inflation for a minute. You okay? Need some water? You all right? Okay. All right. Have you heard of the rule of 72? Einstein called this the 8th wonder of the world. In fact, you can Google it. The 8th wonder of the world. And let me explain it. It's really interesting. Whatever interest rate you're saving at, say 4%, divide that number by 72, and that's going to tell you how many years it's going to take for your money to double. So watch this. 4 divided into 72 is 18 years. In 18 years, your money will double if you're earning 4%. So let's say you have $100 earning 4%, right? If you leave it in and it just grows, in 18 years, do you see that it's going to double to $200? You see that? Now, let's put it in for another 18 years at 4%, and it's going to double again. It'll double to $400, right? Now, here's the problem. 36 years from now, will $400 buy what $100 buys today? Simply, that's inflation. And if people are saving, where are they saving? They're saving in banks, they're saving in credit unions, they're saving in fixed accounts where they probably aren't even getting 4%. And you can see what's happening. The money's growing, but inflation's growing much quicker. They're losing their purchasing power, and they never may retire. And this is a big, big problem. The solution is to help people find a potentially better interest rate. Say a person could get 6 to 10% interest. Let's look at this example. Say somebody, you're 29 years old, you have $10,000 in the bank. 29 years old, $10,000 in the bank. And it's growing at 4%. So that $10,000 grows to $40,000 in 36 years. So now you're 65 years old, right? Kids are gone, house is paid for, you want to retire, but what have you got? $40,000. How long is that going to last? You know? How long? Maybe a year, maybe a little longer. If you're really frugal, maybe you're going to spend faster. But the problem is once it's gone, then you're out of money. And then what are you? Are you working at Walmart or McDonald's? Here's the problem: we've run out of time. And who wants to work past 65? The only thing we could have changed is the interest rate. And here's the million-dollar question: if you could have earned 6 to 12% instead of 4%. Would you have greater financial independence? Let me show you this. Lost my place here. Let me show you this. If you earned 6%, your money doubles every 12 years. If you earned 8%, your money doubles every 9. If you made 12%, your money doubles every 6 years. So in 36 years, your money has grown to $640,000. Isn't that amazing? I mean, really, isn't that amazing? It's not that you were smarter than this person. It's not that this person had more money or there wasn't, same age, right? Same amount of money. The only difference is the interest rate. But it cost this guy $600,000. This is a really, really important lesson to learn. Can you see why this could change the quality of your life? And you know what? It's not about having the $10,000. The key to saving a little bit is about saving a little bit on a monthly basis at a decent interest rate for you to save, so that way you can save at a decent interest rate. That way, at the end, the goal, there will be a time that your money is out earning what you were earning from your job. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that pretty awesome? You can actually get your money making more than what you're making from work. So here's the million-dollar question. Where can I get a decent rate of return and yet protect the principal where I'm actually guaranteed not to lose my money? Well, actually, there's 3 strategies. Let's talk about those 3 strategies. I'm going to give you a synopsis of each. You tell me which one makes the most sense to you, and then we'll find out which one is suitable and get back when we get back together, okay? The first one is the fixed rate approach. It's over here on this side. The fixed rate approach, with a fixed rate strategy, usually between 2 and 3%, maybe less, is an interest rate, and that's pretty risky because of inflation, right? That's right. The second approach is over the other end of the spectrum. This is the stock market, mutual funds, where you have a potential for high returns, but with a greater risk of losing your money. And a lot of people have, right? We've seen that it's been really dicey the last several years. The third way is right here in the middle. It's called the index strategy, where the entire principal and interest is saved. So all interest that is earned is protected, so you don't lose the money. It's like, and all of that is followed by the S&P 500 stock index. So which one of these 3 do you like? The fixed, the stock market, or this index strategy? The index strategy? Well, you know what? It's a very popular strategy. Let's talk about it for a minute. You've heard of the S&P 500, right? The S&P 500 is the stock index of the 500 most widely held companies in the United States, representing over 100 industries, medical and so forth, all these 100 industries. In fact, it represents, believe it or not, almost 70% of the American economy. But get this, the S&P 500 has averaged almost 10% a year over the past 25 years. If you invested in the S&P 25 years ago, you would have averaged almost 10% per year. Now, when we get back together, if we've determined that an index strategy is good for you, then I can explain some of the specific details, products, floors, things that are the terms and the conditions. But for now, let me just give you an overview of how the index strategy works in this scenario, okay? All interest earned is linked to the S&P 500 up to a cap, for an example of 12%, but without any downside risk with putting money directly into the stock market. So you see, your money is protected from any market loss, and at the same time you participate in the growth. So as the market goes up, as the market goes up, you go up. But when the market falls, guess what? You don't lose any money. It stays right here. That should be pretty important, don't you think? So let's say a few years back, you put $10,000 into the index strategy. Let me write this down for you, right? We're going to put $10,000 here on the index strategy. And it's going to grow. It's going to grow up 10% the next year, and it grows to $11,000. See that? The following year, it's going to grow another 10%. Okay, Heather? And it grows another, right? Sounds reasonable. It grows another 10%, and now you have $12,100. So there you have 2 years of growth at 10%. The third year, the S&P all of a sudden has a problem, and they lose 20%. It falls 20%. Is that possible? Well, actually, it's happened quite a few times over the history of the S&P. But instead of your value dropping down here to $9,600, you stay set at $12,100. What? Do you see how that works? Although the market falls, you don't lose any money. And this is the best way to quickly become. This has become one of the most popular strategies in the market, but it's the best ways to win the rate of return battle, to be able to get potentially higher returns, yet protect your principal from any downside market. But you can't just win the rate of return battle and forget about taxes, right? So in fact, I want to show you how that, actually I think it's probably going to shock you, how important it is to employ both of these strategies as we talk. Let's say 30 years ago, there was a guy, he was 30 years old, and he went to talk to the banker. He didn't understand a lot of this principle, and he wanted to go, and he went to see his banker, and he asked the banker, he said, what do I need to save every month for 30 years so I can have $1 million? He wanted to find out how to get $1 million. Back then, CD rates were 5%. Now they're about 2%, but back then they were 5%. Well, the banker figured out, he calculated it up, he did his calculator thing, and he said, you know what? $1,639.29 a month for 30 years at 5%, you'll get your $1 million. The guy was totally discouraged. He left the bank. He never saved a dime. He might be working McDonald's, we've seen him. Now what if we could taught him how to win 2 battles, the rate of return battle and the tax battle? Look how this number changes if we could have done that. Look at it. Let's win this rate of return battle. The first, instead of earning 5%, he earns 10%, right? But with no tax deferral, that reduces that number clear down to almost $900 a month. However, can people save $900 a month? Probably not. But that's $700 less than this guy, right? That's pretty significant, isn't it? But what if we had put his money away where it can't be taxed while it grows? Then we start winning the tax game, right? So, real quickly, with tax deferral, what does he have to put away? I want you to look at this. $438 a month. Now, Heather, do you know people that can put away $438 a month? Do you? Yeah, a lot of people. Maybe you could do that. Yeah, you might be blowing that on dinners and lunches, for all I know. But see, to a lot of people, $438, that's not a big deal. It's not, understand, it's not about putting a ton away. It's about putting away what you can at a decent interest rate, deferring taxes, and avoiding loss of principal. In fact, in step 6, when we're done, a person who knows how, they can potentially become financially independent. And if we do it right, we can literally shave years off retirement. Isn't that neat? Isn't that neat? So let me ask you this. Heather. If you were financially independent right now, even with your dogs, with your financial independent, and you had enough money saved up every month that you didn't have to work anymore, what would you and your husband be doing? What are your dreams? What are your goals? What would you be doing? Yeah, that's great. Now think about it. If you were totally financially independent, you now have options. And that's the point. You can do what you want, when you want, how you want. In fact, it was interesting. The other day, I was talking to a couple, and we were going through the implementation phase. That's our second visit. And the wife got so excited, she was saying, you know what, I now know what we're doing. She says, but I bet most of my neighbors don't. And they wouldn't know. But she knew, and she was really excited. You know what? At the same time, she and her husband became really focused because they knew that their dreams were, and when it was going to happen, they now had a plan. And that was what was really key about building this long-term financial independence plan. Let's go to step 7. The last of the steps is estate planning. And a lot of times people will use a trust, so upon death they can not only leave a legacy, but avoid the headaches and the tax burdens of probate. That deals with the survivors. So how a trust helps you avoid probate and protect your liabilities. It's about having a will, a living will, power of attorney, doing those types of things. So as we go through and you look at this, do you have an attorney or someone that you're working with, an advisor that helps you with your estate planning issues, right? I think he's saying yes. Right, well let me ask you, if you don't already have an attorney, we can recommend one. You can engage you an attorney who specializes in estate planning. You can also have an alternate a company that's, it's not a law firm but prepares documents or simple estate plans. I can give you some companies that help with that, prepare a plan and make that happen if you're interested. Okay, all right, great. Are you done? Okay. Well, so these are the 7 steps. They're kind of neat. Let me ask you, Heather, an important question. Out of these 7 steps, are there any? If you had to narrow it down to 2, that are your biggest priority in life between inspecting what you expect, increasing cash flow, eliminating debt, developing an emergency fund, protecting what you have, building long-term financial independence, or estate planning, if you could pick only 2, which would they be? Which of the 2 would they be? No? Ideas? Oh, number 6? Yeah? And number 2? Well, you know what? Let me tell you what we can do. It's called a financial needs analysis. We can make sure that the products we offer are suitable to you. We're in a second, I'll ask you a few questions to determine what your needs are, and then we can talk about how they'll match with your goals and your needs. Now I'll take this back to the office where we'll have a program, evaluate what's going on, and take that information and develop a plan of attack around your need so you can become, the goal obviously, to be financially independent the soonest. And this is really awesome. So let me tell you what the cost of this is, because when I come back, this is what I'm going to expect. I'm going to expect some hot chocolate chip cookies fresh out of the oven that you made, and then a tall cup of cold milk. I'm just kidding. You're looking too serious. I just had to throw that out. You're looking too serious. No. Really, let me tell you how we get paid. The companies that we choose to link up with and help you find your specific goals, well, they pay us a referral fee. So you don't have to be billed for services that we provide. It's a win-win scenario. You don't get billed, and there's no charge for putting these things together. However, the information I bring back to you will only be as accurate as the information that we put in. So work with me here, because we're talking about your future, right? And if you do this right, we can potentially shave off years off your retirement date. So let me just ask a few questions here as we go through the talking about cash flow for you and your husband, all right? We'll do these first few questions, and then we can talk about the next step. All right, good. So cash flow, you said you had about $3,000 left from taxes each year that you got in return, and so forth. Okay, good. And long-term savings? Right. Legal planning? Okay, good. This is going to be awesome. When we get back together in a date or 2, we're going to have a great time, because I've got plenty to work with here. And when we get back together, you're going to have a really crystal clear picture of how and when we can be potentially, totally independent. And this is about meeting your dreams, your goals, and you're going to love this. But you're going to need to listen, because I'm going to spend some time on it, because I want to know that you're serious, and I'm going to be serious, right? This is going to be awesome to help you get to the quality of life that you want. Fair enough? Now that we've, very important that we've talked about this, we need to set up a time in the next 24, 48 hours to get together. That way, the information is still clear in your head. If we have to go into the next week, we might have to do some review and so forth. So if you look at your calendar, is there a time that we can get together the soonest in the next couple of days that might work? Maybe 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. Tomorrow. Is that available for you? No? Maybe the next day? Okay, 3 p.m.? All right, 3 p.m. works fine. And you've given me the information that I need. So let me ask you 2 questions before we leave. Important. If we come back, when we come back and I show you a plan that meets your goals and objectives in every way, you're totally comfortable with it, you and your husband. Is there any reason we couldn't do business, you and your husband? Okay. And after we've done business, is there any reason that we wouldn't feel comfortable providing names of maybe 3 or 4 friends that could really help benefit from these services? Because if I can help you, maybe I can help them too. Fair enough? Well, great. It's been nice meeting you. Thank you for having me in your home. I love your dogs. They're very playful. And we'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock with these results. Cute boys.